RogueCon 23. That's right. It is here. It's not back. It's here. It's the first one. Join the ultimate celebration of digital content with its creators, passionate fans, and industry experts. It is all happening in downtown Waco across multiple venues, January 20th through the 22nd of 2023. Now, if you want to go, you got to get tickets, and tickets are on sale at RogueCon23.com. That's RogueCon, RogueCon 23.com. Be there. I'm going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. Let's go.
Ready.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Good.
How are you doing?
Yeah.
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 We're doing it.
I'm here.
Hi.
I'm just kidding. I'm fine. Okay, and
Mentally.
take 2 at 43 seconds. We're gonna restart.
BooBaes. BooBaes. Hi.
That sounded so. Hello. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. No, the energy's there. I'm sorry. Hello. I don't know why I'm being so awkward, but hello and hi. It is Joshua.
And I'm Caitlin, and we are
Your BooBaes.
BooBaes. That's right.
Ooh.
And this is the horror-tastic, spooktacular, fun podcast.
Yeah, where we get to talk about some horror movies. Maybe your favorites, maybe not your favorites, maybe everything in between.
That's right.
And today,
And all the ones you never heard of.
that's true.
You probably have heard of this one, though, as it's on
I'd say
probably the biggest streaming platform in the world still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, I know it's not been doing as well lately, but I feel like
That's still doing well for not doing well, if that makes sense.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, they actually were projecting to like lose so many whatever people, but they managed to cut that in half.
Oh.
So it's actually not as bad as they projected it to be.
That's pretty good, I guess.
But they reported on that whatever they were losing 2 million or 1 million subscribers, whatever, something like that. But they didn't report that oh, actually they lost half of that, because it's more sensationalized to print oh, they lost this many, as opposed to well, they actually really lost this many.
Yeah.
That's the turn of the whatever.
Make it more exciting.
But today, you guys, Fear Street 1666. Or if I like to call it Fear Street 1666.
1666.
Oh, and actually, technically, I guess, and Fear Street 1994.2.
Yeah.
Part 2. I said point 2.
Oh, yeah.
But part 2, yeah. At the, I guess middle half of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're continuing the series, our back to school series of horror fest fun-filled movies. This one basically takes up where we left Miss Dina at the end of the 1978, and she ended up getting she's just basically viewing everything through Sarah Fier's perspective.
Yes.
So we see her portraying Sarah Fier.
Yeah.
But it's not really Dina. It is Sarah Fier, but it's not her. And then we see the actual Sarah Fier cut out through in parts of it. But yeah. Did you like that, or do you think it should have just been that other actress the whole entire time?
Oh no, I like that.
Okay.
I feel like it. So then you understand where these bloodlines were. I mean, even though their names were the same, I feel like it's still nice to know that these were the descendants of these people, and kind of see all of them. And for the the only person who had the same name, was it Thomas? Tommy.
Thomas. Yeah.
He had the same name, but everyone else had
the drunk one. Yeah.
A pretty different name.
Yeah. And everybody was either somehow just looked like someone who was in the past, or we had the two sisters were actual still
sisters,
actual sisters in that time frame as well. Yeah, which was pretty cool. I liked it,
and
I liked that it was all the same
like,
actors.
Kind of similar personalities too, except for Constance or Ziggy. She didn't seem quite the same. she seemed not as
Also, we only didn't even get to see that
for like
much of her.
2.5 seconds. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
But and we have the culmination of what is the saga, starting with, I guess, Miss Sarah. Do we Sarah? I guess we're calling her Sarah. Yeah, Sarah.
Yeah, I call them all by
Tina,
their. I call them all by their names
that they're portraying at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sarah is getting called out by her brother. I forget his name. What's his name?
And this
at that time,
I
have
don't
it
know.
put down here, but I will get it in just a second.
Oh, Henry.
Henry. Okay.
And then his name is
Josh in 1994.
Okay.
But she gets called out by him, and the pig is giving birth at this point. So she's birthing the baby pigs.
And it made it seem real, like that was clever, because it made us kind of, whenever we saw that, like she was connected to Sarah Fier, and Sarah Fier having literal blood on her hands, it was like, oh fuck, like that's bad. And then you see that a pig was giving birth. Yeah. And that it was just she was
It gives you a little twist already right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because you're already thinking like, oh, the witch has done something.
Yeah, she's already killing people, but nope, she's just helping birth some little piggies into the world.
And she's going to take them, she gets all that done, and then she's talking to her dad, I think, for a little bit. And then she's going to take some stuff to Solomon.
And she just puts that little piggy in a bag.
Yeah, that's
she's
what
just
it is,
like,
the piggy.
Puts it in a sack and then carries it.
Yeah. Well, it's 1666. I guess that's what you do.
Can they breathe in that sack, though?
But
I guess it was alive once it got to him, so I guess, but... I feel like I just carried the little piggy.
Yeah.
Hello, little piggy.
Baby. They're cute. Oh, Lord. No.
You want a pig?
Sorry. No, I've triggered. The way that life experiences, you bury them so far deep that you don't remember them. No, my dad, he still has like certain animals to this day, but we grew up basically with like having like ducks and chickens and piggies and goats and sheep and all that around the house. On the farm. No, just my dad never ate them. No, he just loved animals, and so he would just always have them. And he goes and tends to them and takes care of them. To this day, I mean, he like has his new thing is that he has bunnies, and he has baby bunnies, and like they'll like be birthed, and then he'll go take them to like the store or like other places, or sell them to people, like here's a baby bunny, you know. But and that's actually something sad that happened recently too, because his bunny pens got broken into by some pit bulls.
Oh no.
And they mauled all the bunnies. Except for like a few of them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and the sad thing is like they don't eat them; they just kill them and then just leave them there. So it's just like little baby bunnies dead. It was real sad. Pour one out for the baby bunnies. And then also subsequently, so my dad had these potbelly pigs back in the day, and one of them, the mama gave birth, and she didn't care for this bunch, I guess, and so she started like squashing them and like munching their heads, and so she had like 6 or 8 of them, and by the time like my dad realized what was happening, there was only 3 alive, and so we took them into the house, but like 2 of them were like already kind of like trampled on, and so what ended up happening was, because we have like these like for the baby chickens and stuff, we would have like these heat lamps and stuff that they would have hay and stuff, so I had them in my room with me, but then like it was just squealing and crying all night, and then I was like holding them to myself and like keeping them warm with my body heat, and 2 of them died on me, like just in my arms.
What the fuck? This is terrible. This is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
2 of them died in my arms. And one of them made it through the night, but then ended up dying a few days later.
God.
And there was nothing like literally just holding a little baby pig like in my hands like this, and just like feeling her like take like fighting and struggling to just breathe and like fight for life, and then like taking its last breath. Yeah, I watched all that happen at like 15 or 16. Yeah.
Well, that's it, y'all. We're all going home.
So I think that kind of gives like even more insight to like how, you know, I like my take with like just how I joke with death and all that kind of shit, whatever. Because I just, you know, I don't know. Yeah.
That's heavy.
And then like Yeah, I think I just like it's
so
weird.
that mama pig eating it at the end.
That happens in real life. Just how like some mama cats and other things, like once, like if you touch baby kitties too soon, like the mom will reject them, or like chickens, baby chicks and stuff. Same thing. Yeah.
Or if they're like, sometimes don't they just eat them anyways?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, it's wild.
It's a cat eat cat world out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so they where are we at? Oh yeah, so she's gonna take the little piggy to Solomon, but on the way there we end up seeing Alderman Good and all these townspeople out. She's talking to the other kids, and I believe they're talking about what is it? The full moon rises before nightfall.
Yeah, full moon rises before nightfall. A good night to enjoy the fruits of the land.
Mm-hmm, which is like their code speak.
Yeah, it's a call and response.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which they're planning all to like get together and have a little party basically.
Yeah, with some berries that make them
trip. Blueberries essentially, I believe, right? Almost. Does she just calls them berries, right? Or is it blueberries?
Well, she calls them berries, but obviously they've got some sort of...
Yeah, they're drugs, essentially, hallucinogenics or something. But so it's funny because...
It's probably not an actual blueberry,
It recalled me back to like how in the first film they call them blueberries and...
Yellow Jackets.
Yeah. No, is that...
It's Nancy. She's like, what are you doing?
Nancy, we're recording. Hi, Nancy. Shout out to Nancy.
Shout out to Nancy.
No, wasn't it in this night 78? It was Yellow Jackets and Red Birds.
Red Birds, yeah.
And then in 94,
blueberries and bananas.
There we go. Awesome. Which just reminds me of runts, and now I want some runts.
Ooh, I
love runts. They're so good. The peach ones and the banana ones are so good. Those are the best ones.
And orange. Yep.
Oh, you actually like the orange ones? I don't like the orange ones.
I like all things orange.
Oh, do you like gobstoppers?
Yeah.
Oh, me too. Actually, now that I think about it, I like lollipops and I like hard candy. I like things like things you like take forever, like you just suck on, and it's like you just like have that sweetness for like 30 minutes. Oh, especially the ones with gum inside of them.
Oh.
Blow pops. Okay.
I did like blow pops.
Or a Tootsie Pop.
Tootsie Pop.
Why is it at parades that they always throw fucking Tootsie Rolls? It's like Tootsie Rolls galore.
They're not supposed to anymore.
Oh, why?
Because children get run over trying to get the candy.
Oh, gotcha. But they still give out Tootsie Rolls. Got it.
Sometimes, yeah. They're not supposed to throw it anyways.
I haven't been to a parade.
Tootsie Rolls are cheap and gross.
In years.
I don't like Tootsie Rolls.
That's probably why they were using those. But I haven't been to a parade in years, honestly, so I don't know. Is that the new rule now? Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I know the parades for school and stuff for the marching band.
So
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure people still do, but I'm pretty sure.
But so like, there's just don't pass out candy at all.
Well, I think you can pass out candy, but you're not supposed to throw it because
like
then
it
doesn't.
Like
you have to like place
walk
it
out.
In, because otherwise, if it like falls out, children are gonna be like, "Yum, candy!" and run, and then they get splat.
So be it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Speaking of splat, she then runs in. We see Constance like in the middle of some like cheering girls with we saw two of those kids in the last movie when Alice started seeing the ghost visions and stuff that are dancing around her. So you're kind of seeing them, and they're like saying something about the pastor's eyes going splat and stuff. So
yes. They have that little nursery rhyme, and they're kind of like Ring Around the Rosie-ish. And then we have the Pastor Miller, right? Yeah. He turns around and he's being pastoral. I don't know, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah. He's just being like friendly.
Yeah, playing with the kids.
There's a clear demeanor change for him later.
Yeah, like, exactly. Because you see the portrayal of him being like
very jovial.
A good guy. Yeah, a nice guy, some would say.
Nice guy.
And then she runs into Thomas, of course, who is a skis.
He says, "I can see all the dark secrets in you, girl."
Yeah.
Beware, Sarah Fier.
Which also too, like throughout this whole part of it, and I'm just like, why are we all listening? And Solomon
why is
even
everyone
says
listening
later,
to fucking Thomas?
To the drunk, like annoying dude who's like who literally is homeless. he's always just outside.
Yeah.
Drinking.
Like everyone like kind of refers to him as the town like.
He's basically the fool.
Yeah, the fool. And it's like you can't. Why is everyone so ready to go along with what Thomas says? Why is everyone just like, yeah, you know what? You're right, Thomas. Let's let's kill these women.
Honestly, though, that gives very much the climate of our political landscape these days.
Yes.
Because there's a bunch of fools leading a bunch of sheep. Yep. But that's not that kind of podcast.
But then right after that, we go over to, we see Hannah Miller, and that is Sam, and she's the pastor's daughter.
Yeah. A PK, a pastor's kid. And she is, it's funny that we and it's funny that we also see that even like they're kind of like soulmates is what they're basically trying to say, because even in their past lives they were still like lovers. Yeah, which is kind of cute.
It is. And like the red moss is kind of the symbol of their love, so that's why it had grown everywhere
after the fact. Yeah,
poo mosses for love.
It really, and I like how that tied in, because then it makes sense about how the moss was still there. Someone just walked by and it freaked me out. Oh, it's Sarah Fier.
Sarah Fier's here.
Sarah Fier. Beware of the fear. And so she then also she had run into Abby Berman and all of those, and what's her face right before her, right? And
yeah, we kind of see basically everyone from the previous movies.
I think before that's when she's talking to Solomon. She actually makes it to his place before she sees Abby, right?
I think it's after. Maybe,
but yeah, you're right.
Because then I have Solomon is the guy who lost his wife and daughter.
Gotcha.
Because I remember they had mentioned it earlier, and I was like, wait. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, she is going to this guy. Whenever I saw the little, the two graves next to each other, one human or adult size,
a small one and a big one,
and one child size. Yeah, very sad,
very petite. And so she ends up going to Solomon, and they have their little chit chat. They're talking. What did we find out then?
Basically, I mean, she makes a joke of like, well, we're basically married already, blah blah, and then it's just really setting this like
the tone of their friendship, basically, and like her knowing him well, and like they're supposed to be good friends. At
a
this
lot
point.
Of trust is between them.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. And so then, like you said, we have at this point seen kind of everybody who has played other characters throughout the movie now playing these other characters that are now set in this timeline. And I'm just like, man, these like family genes and ties, they all go very deep. Yeah. Which granted, I'm sure they probably look exactly like that. It's just like
convenient.
Yeah, that's
to let you know
like these are the lines and this is where it comes from. Yeah, but I don't know. I really did enjoy that. And I guess that also just like, I mean, that is true. Like a lot of places like family lines just like there's a settlement and then like those families stay there for generations. Like that's crazy to me.
It is.
Because we used to be nomads and now we're like just like forever and lines just grow there.
I hate that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Terrible. Yeah. Had they not done that, I don't think I would have been able to keep up with anyone but like Sarah.
There would have been too much going on, too many characters. Yeah. I feel that.
If it was like new faces, even if they looked kind of remotely similar, no, I would have had no clue. I would have been like, I have no clue who anyone is.
I feel that.
But yeah, so I really enjoy that they did that. But after this, we're basically sneaking out. Yeah,
we're going to go find the witch or go to the witch.
And to the berries.
Widow Mary, that's what it is. Because they want to get those berries. They need to get some special berries. And they're getting led by, I don't think I wrote her name down, but who is an ancestor of Kate from 1994. Yeah. And just basically playing the same character for the most part.
Yeah, very similar. I feel like most of like a lot of them were very like true to how they were in the first film. And then at this point I was like, is it only those three? I was like, a fuck ton of people said that weird chant. Like I'm like, why is no one else here? And then I guess they were just going to see the witch and then bring the berries.
Yeah.
But because at first it was only Sam or Hannah Miller, Sarah, and
Kate ancestor.
Kate ancestor. But yeah, so then they make it to Widow Mary, and they're just like,
she's not there. They end up mentoring
some real Goldilocks shit.
Yeah, pretty much. And
she's
also
not
like,
here, let's steal her shit.
And and I would never like enter a known witch's place and like especially like. Because it's more of like a hut, I guess I would say. And so you can see without entering that no one's there, basically, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, it's essentially like, what is that?
I don't know what to call it. I just think of hut.
It's like
or like a
it's like a cloth, muslin. It looked like almost like a muslin covered,
like a circus tent, but with muslin.
Yeah. And they go in, and it's just like, well, I put like probably not a good idea to steal from the woman known as a witch. But, well, I don't know.
Widow Mary at that.
Yeah, I was like, probably not very nice.
But they're all
she lives in a muslin hut.
They're all going in there. They're taking a look around, trying to find the berries, and Sarah ends up finding a demonic witch's book, a witchcraft book. Well,
a spell book.
A spell book. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun, and I like how whenever she opened it up, it says, and she turns it to the page for like basically the demon getting the soul. It says like a simple exchange.
Yeah.
And I was like, is it simple?
So simple? That's all it is. It really is.
I don't really know. But then guess what they said? Abaddon.
Abaddon, yes.
I was like, we don't talk about Abaddon.
You don't.
Not no more.
You don't mention those names.
Yep.
Mm-mm.
And for those of you wondering, that's a reference to Hell House, LLC, the Abaddon Hotel.
We actually get a bunch of different names. Beelzebub, Abaddon, Satan, of course.
Satan.
And then there was like 2 other ones.
Yeah. I didn't recognize those demons.
I recognized the Beelzebub.
Yeah, because Queen.
And
I'm just kidding. He's also Beelzebub's also just a very
yeah.
well-known demon.
And there was something else too. I don't even remember. There was another one, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I've heard of it too. But anyways, she's reading from the book, which like probably you shouldn't read something out loud from that book.
Yeah,
because it could cast something, or you might make an exchange. And so anyways, at that
it's
point,
apparently very simple.
we have exactly right. We have Miss Widow Mary coming back, and she's like basically heeding a warning to Sarah Fier, and then attacking her, or not really attacking her, but lunging at Hannah and Kate ancestor as they're coming out.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a little commotion, and they get out.
Tussle.
Yeah.
I like, so whenever she was talking with just Sarah, she says like it's the Morning Star, which then reminded me of
Sabrina.
Yeah. And then
which the Morning Star is Lucifer.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. And then she says the devil lives within that book, and he will bore himself beneath your skin. And I was like,
yeah.
Damn, that's some heavy shit.
It's very like Evil Dead, like reading from that one book, and then it was just like, ooh, yeah. Now they're tethered to that evilness.
Yeah.
And so they end up getting away, and they end up going to this gathering where all of the other towns teenagers are.
Who said that weird incantation? A little trippy berry party.
Yeah, exactly. They start partaking in the berries. They're all kind of hallucinating, and it's very like in the woods, like satyrs, fairies, like kind of dancing nymphs kind of situation.
Yeah,
if that makes
around
sense.
a little fire pit.
Yeah.
Some people are sitting talking, but other people are like dancing around.
Feeling the vibes, most definitely. And then we have, I think I ever got a name from him, but he was creepy.
Caleb. Caleb tried to come and undress Hannah. And it's like,
yeah, and he had a boner alert, and they kind of, Sarah comes up and to defend Hannah, like embarrasses him in front of everybody, basically.
She says maybe if you're still that like desperate, maybe if you go
in the
mule. Dark, a mule would overlook his flaws in the dark, is what she said. And she like glanced at his penis.
Yeah.
LOL.
And
then my next note just says poo poo moss.
Yeah, because they end up going to that kissing. I just referred to it as like the kissing stone.
Yeah, that's what I refer to it as well now, because
that's what happens there.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's what happens there. And they're like basically professing their like and love for each other. And Sarah starts eating that coochie.
She does.
I was like, Hannah out on the rock.
I was like, damn, they're gonna fuck. And then I was like, oh fuck, she's eating her out. Okay.
Yeah, I went there. I didn't. Yeah. I was when I first watched it too. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we're doing it. That's awesome. Go for it." And then they're doing that for a little while, but then they hear like a snap of some twig in the background. So obviously they freak out because they're like, "Shit, someone might have been watching us." Because obviously it's 1666, so they can't be lesbos.
No,
lesnickies.
Lesnickies.
Oh yeah, lesbi gays. Back in that time, so they end up running back to town. Hannah's really freaked out. Obviously, she's the pastor's daughter, and she's just like, "Oh, what if someone saw us?" And then Sarah's really like, "Nobody saw us. Like nobody." And I'm like, "Someone was there.
You definitely saw a shadow move." Like,
what are you trying to convince yourself of? And that's whenever there's more like another kiss, and then Thomas sees him from lurking.
Yeah.
He's lurking in the shadows for some reason.
Who knows
Yeah.
what he's doing. Yep, my note literally says, damn, she was called a witch for being lesbian gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of happened back in the day
It
too.
did. It's really sad.
It really is. And so
It like this part of it was, I was like, damn, this fucking
that storyline.
hurt.
Yeah.
Sad.
Love is love. Come on, you guys.
Love is love.
I'm glad it's not 1666 anymore.
Yeah.
Although,
It's-
anyways, take a sip of that. And so I believe after that we have Hannah coming to Sarah the next day.
Oh,
because
hold on.
yeah, what's up?
I forgot. Sorry, I got hung up on the lesbian. It was really cute whenever whenever right before she kissed Hannah, she says, "I was not alive before today," and I was like,
how do you feel so far
I
about
I
Tina's
liked this
acting
one. Yeah.
and
I liked this overall story quite a bit. Yeah,
right?
especially the 1666 part. Was
Me
a
too.
big fan of that part.
Me too.
The ending 1994 was also still good.
I was I love this one because of the 1666 part. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if it's that also.
This
like,
was my favorite one of the three.
Cool. I'm glad we're on board.
Yeah.
It's and I don't know if it's also too because I like a good period piece or like witchy vibes kind of situation. So it was just really cool. And I also I'm a big I love world building in movies and historical things happening in movies, like timeline chronological, to where it makes me be like, oh, this happened because of this and this and this. And so the way that this one builds on that itself and going backwards,
Yes.
it's really cool.
It's a very solid timeline, not a lot of holes. No, they did a good job of covering
all
every
the bows
aspect,
gets tied, yeah.
And tying everything back in.
And so yeah, they
that was
had
good.
that. They had a lot of cute moments.
And whenever she wakes up in the I think it's because she's about to go to bed, or no, it was when she woke up in the morning because Henry came in and he was like, "You overslept."
That's right.
She pulls the red moss out of her hair, and that was when I was like, "Oh, the red moss was a little reminder of their love," because it looked very she looked at it so lovingly, and I was like,
and the parallels of a lot of things happening in this movie that happened in 1994. Whenever Josh came to wake her up, and that's whenever we saw the blood on her shoe.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things happen in this movie that are also almost not exact things that are happening the same way, but they are similar.
Yeah.
A variance of the same situation, basically. And so we have Hannah coming over because she's freaking out because there's something wrong with her dad, the pastor. He is hearing his name being called, and basically all the food is getting
it's
rotted.
rotting.
Yeah. And
bugs, maggots growing within
galore.
It just looks ew.
Yeah. And so
and the way he's sitting there just praying and stuff over.
You got to pray it away.
And there was a fly around him and stuff. It was very I was clearly this man is not
He's not
it's
okay.
Not himself.
Yeah.
And whenever Sarah even tried to suggest that, and Hannah was like, "No, something's fucking wrong with him. Something is wrong with him."
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Maybe we made him this way."
Yeah, because she thinks it's their fault for their lesbianism.
Yeah, and I was like, "You
it's
did not
punishment.
make your dad sick. Come on."
Yeah. And then we have her talking to her, and then what? Because I guess Sarah was at Hannah's, right? Yeah, and that's whenever her mom comes there and is and says the same thing, parallel to 1994 on the phone, when she's like, "You're not going to stop until you ruin her life," or something like that.
Yeah. And basically, and she says something about Thomas is telling everyone.
She's being a major C word.
Yeah. And she says, he saw y'all, and stuff. So Thomas a fucking snitch. And then that was where the first time I was like, why is anyone believing him?
Yeah,
he's a fucking drunk.
He's stupid. Yeah, that's shouldn't. Yeah, I'm just saying, he is a drunk. People know that he's basically has no social standing.
Yeah.
So why would he?
Why is everyone just so willingly okay? Thomas's word is law.
To where even Sarah's dad gets wind of this, and so she gets home and he's basically saying I messed up. I raised you like a boy. You had too much freedom.
He says there's always been a strangeness in you, Sarah, Sarah. And then he says something something a mother could have rooted out, but unfortunately their mother had passed away, and he was like, yeah, so now this is my fault that you're a lesbian.
And then we also get like the dialogue of him saying how like her mom was one of the founding people who like chose this like place to settle as well.
She could feel it was different. She could feel it in the air.
And so we have, which I mean, guess it probably would have been like turned out to have been a good place if Solomon never would have placed his
done that
curse
shit
on the land.
Because like, you know, she had successfully helped a mom pig give birth to like 6 piglets, and you know, crops seemed to be going well. Everyone was harvesting things, and everyone seemed happy.
Yeah, because at this point we get to like the rest of we get to her and like looking at the food in her house, and everything's rotted.
Yeah, the bread is just completely it's got a thick layer of mold all over it.
Yeah.
And I mean, bread don't cover in mold that fast, you know?
Oh, and
it like starts at a little
gross.
A little spot, and then it like ugh. And then she pours out the flour, and there's like mealworms or something in it.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad it wasn't maggots though, because I hate maggots.
Yeah.
They make me like just gross. And so we have her then getting called by Henry because the mama pig had ate her babies.
Ate all the babies.
And so
she was just munching away.
And then we have Sarah putting the mama pig out because I guess apparently that means the mama pig's crazy. I don't know why she killed her actually.
Yeah, I guess because it had killed all
its
of
babies.
its babies.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or maybe she just had a lot of pent up rage.
They do that sometimes. Yeah. So, but I don't know.
Maybe they didn't know that then.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
RogueCon 23. That's right. It is here. It's not back. It's here. It's the first one. Join the ultimate celebration of digital content with its creators, passionate fans, and industry experts. It is all happening in downtown Waco across multiple venues, January 20th through the 22nd of 2023. Now, if you want to go, you got to get tickets, and tickets are on sale at RogueCon23.com. That's RogueCon, RogueCon 23.com. Be there. I'm going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Hank. You might remember me from a show called King of the Hill. Check out a King of the Hill rewatch podcast. These boys ain't rap, but they are funny. Find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com. I tell you what.
Yeah, so the mama pig killed the babies. She puts the pig out of its misery. And then we have her walking through the town, right? Because that's when we notice that like all the rest of the food, like Thomas like takes a bite into an apple or something and it's like rotted.
Oh, is it Tom? Or is that guy's
Oh,
name
no, not Thomas.
Too?
It's the no. It's the other dude. That's Simon in 1994.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name
either.
Yeah. But he ends up taking a bite of some apple or something and it's rotted. And then we see that they are pulling up the well, like something's stuck on the, what is it called? The bucket? The pail?
Yeah, on the, the little bucket that's.
And so they end up pulling up.
Mary Boy.
Or is it Mary Boy or Mary Bell?
Mary Boy is what I wrote.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it might be Mary Boy.
I think that's what I think I just spelled it how my closed
Closed
captioning
captions?
had it.
Mm-hmm.
But they could also spell it wrong. Sometimes they spell things wrong.
It's doggo and it's dead.
Yeah,
and
doggo's dead.
Poisoning
really
the
sad.
water. Yeah. Kind of like that whole thing with like the Hotel Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
Like that lady was up in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
Brown water. It's not good.
Elisa Lamb.
R.I.P.
Elisa Lamb.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I just thought about
wild
like
situation.
I made that gasp because I'm just thinking about like drinking like water with like dead body in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
not
people
good.
came down, complained of the showers like being kind of low water pressure.
Yeah.
Brushing their teeth with this brownish water.
Also, why would you brush your teeth with brownish water? From no, I'd pass.
The moment I saw that, I'd be like,
no.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
I will.
There's something wrong.
Just
and
brush
go buy
my
some bottled
teeth
water.
and
Like
not-
do something else.
Yeah, have any water.
Go to a friend's place.
But anyways, yeah, Mary Boy was in it. And all the while, Thomas is sitting there yelling, the Dark One has come to feast on our misdeeds.
And I'm thinking, in my head, I'm thinking, like, you're misdeed. You're fucking, you're the one imbibing in alcohol, like, over guzzling, whatever. I don't know.
And spreading false.
Yeah, lies.
Yeah.
All of it. He's doing the sins. Whatever's in that book, he's doing it. I know. I feel it. I see
feel
it.
in my soul.
And
I see the darkness within you, Thomas.
Literally. And so I'm also thinking, like, I literally wrote, why is anybody listening to The Town Drunk? And then
Yet again.
that's whenever we have Solomon coming by Sarah's.
He brings her a special little sheath that he made. Leather.
Which
it's got an S.
It does, yeah. And he made that for her. Because at this point, we still have, like, him being...
Because he still does, actually.
He cares for her. They care for each other. Yeah.
He does. The only reason he turns on her is because she figures out the secret. And then...
she's not okay with it, basically.
Yeah. And he basically has to be like, it's you or me.
Yeah. Because
which still doesn't make it any better, but I
yeah.
think he did legitimately care about her, but clearly not enough
Yeah.
to do that to her.
And so that's at that point we have them freaking out in town, I think, right? And that's whenever they go to... At this point, I just have... That's when I put Cyrus has the kids in the church.
Yeah, they have her and Solomon have a little conversation, and she's like, maybe it was the devil in the woods, and maybe the devil is in me.
Oh, that's right.
And she's basically sitting there, and she says, he was like, well, if it's just a dalliance. And she says...
It's more
Hannah
than
was
a
not a dalliance. Yeah, it's not just a dalliance. And he basically says, I just like this word dalliance a lot.
I had to look it up, and then I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
I didn't look it up.
It just basically
went
means...
off of context clues.
Dalliance means like a triff, like a sexual, like just it's for fun,
like a fling.
like really fling. There you go.
Okay,
yeah,
that's what I assumed.
Yeah,
and so, but yeah, I was like dalliance. I'm gonna call it that. I like that. But then this is where he tells her, dalliance or not, one does not summon the devil by chance, because this motherfucker's got experience now.
Yeah,
he's like, you gotta do some shit
for real.
Believe me, you gotta work a little bit.
Because he's like, I know. This exchange isn't so easy.
Yeah, not as simple. I'd like a return, please. False advertising.
Well, because it said simple exchange, right? But then we end up learning because he's like one soul, and then we end up like no, not one soul, because it ends up being like however many plus that one soul.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's whenever we have their whole exposition between them two. And
but yes, people are now freaking out.
People are freaking out because Cyrus Miller is locked up in the church with all of the town's kids, and nobody can get in.
And this is the meeting house, aka the mess hall,
aka the Shadyside Mall.
Yep.
Which is funny because it's like all like the areas where people gather becomes like the same spot
gives
of like
strength.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So they end up being in the church, and Solomon breaks through the door. Right?
I'm pretty sure to like build a mall on top of it, you probably would have noticed like a little bit of foundational issues.
Probably, and then noticed the tunnel system and caves and all that shit underneath there.
And the fact that the mall had a crawl space is like...
It makes no sense. But it's also Shadyside.
Yeah, maybe
Sunnyvale.
The sheriff had something to do with it.
And also the mall was just on Shadyside. Did Sunnyvale have its own mall? And so, yeah, we have Solomon is able to get into the church, the doors basically. And he sees inside a little bit, and that's when he starts telling them to like not let anybody inside. Because I guess he can tell like something's not right up in there.
Yeah. I mean, because, homeboy's standing at the front from what he can see, I'm sure. And
then he just sees those kids, kind
and
of
all
just
of their heads
still,
are kind of like
slumped
down.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess they could have just been praying because they were in like pews.
But we have Solomon walking in, and it's the way that the pastor's mumbling at the front on the pew. Praying, I guess, but not really, just saying.
And he says he can see now.
Yeah.
He can see everything. He gouged out his eyes. He gouged out
all of the
their
kids' eyes, because that's whenever we have him noticing that.
Oh, I put, oh no, all of their eyes went splat because of their little nursery rhyme.
It's true. I didn't even think about that.
Pile of
eyes on the floor. Yeah. And so then we have the parents breaking in, and that's when everybody starts realizing that all the little kids have been basically murdered because he took their eyes out.
Took their eyes out.
And then
They're bloodied.
Cyrus starts, he lunges or he wants to attack Sarah Fier, but Solomon ends up stabbing him with a pitchfork.
Kills him just in time.
Just in time. And then basically everybody's freaking out, and we have a town meeting after that.
Yeah. And now we've got Jacob Berman speaking, which is the father of the Bermans. So
and he's basically saying, like, we have to take care of this. We have to find out what's going on to root out the evil, basically.
I like the little scene with all the bodies lying there.
Which was
that
12,
shot was good.
12 children, just like on the camp.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Whenever you were talking about numbers on the last episode, and then thinking about this, I was like, oh, there's a correlation, yes. And so they are all talking basically. It becomes like a town meeting where they're just like wanting to put the blame on something, and then it becomes like that mob type of mentality.
Yeah. Thomas starts speaking again. Why?
I know, because. And then we have him saying how, like, all the kids were doing whatever out in the forest that one night. And we have the dude who plays Simon later being like, we were just having fun. We just chilled some kids.
Applejack.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, y'all are all sinners. And then Solomon's basically like, yo, the one who killed them all is already dead, so what more do we have to do?
Yeah, like, why are we even here? Like, we obviously see it, and they're like, well, the pastor was a good person, so obviously there's something else behind
something
this.
else caused this.
Yeah.
And which they're correct.
There was, but
and Solomon, the only way that he was like, or only reason he was pointing that out is because it was him.
Yeah, literally.
It's him. He's trying to cover up his own fucking tracks. And then now
we have Caleb.
Caleb comes
I hate that guy. Honestly, he ends up coming up on the hot mic, and he's talking about how
he's just fucking. He
got
lies. Burned. Yeah, like he got embarrassed, and so basically he said that they came to him, or she came to him naked, riding on a red mule, and made him watch as she laid with the devil.
Yeah, both of them.
And then he says, "Yes, both of them. They are witches."
And Sarah Fier.
And then all of a sudden, all of these people start being like, I saw them.
Yeah.
And it's like, bitch, no, you fucking didn't.
I saw Sarah Fier. Yeah. That's crazy. And that's
fragile
just how
masculinity fucking got these
and
poor
mob
women
mentality killed. And like hive mind. Yeah. Yep. It's pretty sad. And then obviously we have Sarah and Hannah watching from the window outside, and they see them out there.
They're like,
so
boop.
It's like, boop, literally. Yeah. And so then of course we have a mob scene,
and Hannah trips and falls. They get her.
They get her.
They're checking her for marks and like publicly shaming her. They're like,
and all the other kids, because they said if like your kid has been with the devil, they'll have a mark on them.
Yeah.
So everybody's getting checked.
But Sarah makes it away because Hannah's like, please go, run.
Because so Sarah ends up getting away for just a little bit. The people are going cray. They're all looking for Sarah as she's kind of evading everybody going through the town.
Like, why didn't she just go? I would have just immediately gone to Simon's or not Solomon's.
Yeah.
Or the woods.
Just anywhere but this town, basically. But she loves Hannah, so her first thought was, I think, just to get back to Hannah.
Yeah, true.
And so they ended up she ends up like getting to her house, but her dad is like drunk outside. She ends up almost getting caught by the townspeople, and then she's able to sneak past Caleb by throwing a rock at like a bucket, and he walks away, and she gets into the church.
Caleb?
I think it was Caleb. And if it's not, then,
it's someone. Yeah.
She ends up getting in there, and she's talking to Hannah. And this scene I actually really liked, and I
did too.
I also really enjoyed like the actress who plays Dina / Sarah. Her acting, Kiana Madeira. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a few phrases from her that felt very, but that could be more of the writing, just like the way that she was. Some of the like verbiage and stuff felt a little forced, and overall, not in this scene, just overall, there were a few moments where I was like, but overall, like her acting wasn't bad. I think it was just the writing was a little like,
maybe
I feel like they were trying too hard to kind of like really nail in this time period at the beginning, and then the vernacular gets a little bit more like commonplace and what we're familiar with.
I get what you mean.
Or maybe I just got more comfortable with it over time and started overlooking it.
No, there's
But,
definitely moments where it kind of feels like it dips out of that element.
yeah, because
Yeah.
at the beginning they were like, "Oh, you brute," and like
Yeah.
putting that and calling things like "you beast" and stuff like that. And then she also like felt much more Irish at the beginning.
There's
significantly
I-
less so.
I
as we
can't speak
went
on it because accents are hard and I can't do them for shit.
Oh yeah, me neither.
So anytime I hear an accent, I'm just like, yep, that's good because it's better than what I could do.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
And so she ends up I also really like that her character at this moment is just like getting like she's just big mad. Like she's just like, man, like if they want a witch, I'm gonna give them a witch.
I will give them a
yeah,
witch.
I'm gonna go make a deal with the devil then.
And the way that like she said, like they think we're guilty, so we are, and that's like and
because that's so serious, like the true. Because if you're guilty in the court of public opinion, then like you might as well be guilty of it.
Yeah.
For real.
And so then, yeah, like she says, you might as well just do it. And she says, I don't fear the devil. I fear the neighbor that would accuse me. I fear the mother that would let her daughter hang. I fear union.
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh, that's some good line, some good writing at that part. And then I also thought that, like, just like how the rest of the movie has been doing it, this was also another parallel, like how in the 1994 when Sam was taking the drugs and she was giving her that, like, we've got this, like, love speech, basically.
Yeah. I thought this one was much
better,
more well written. But yeah, I liked it. And then she says, like, we'll leave this place and dance every night and kiss in broad daylight. And then, yeah, if they want a witch,
I'm going to give them a witch. And so she ends up leaving and she ends up going to Widow Mary's place. She's looking for the book. She's looking for all that. So that way she can make a deal. But she ends up tripping and falling and landing right next to Widow Mary's.
widow.
Which also, I guess we should have mentioned the actress who plays Widow Mary is Nurse Drake from the other movies.
Lane?
Nurse Lane. There you go. My bad.
Oh,
Not
okay.
Drake. I'm sorry.
That was why she looked familiar. I was
Yeah.
having trouble placing
Placing her?
some of the people.
Like
Caleb, who was he?
I don't
Is he
think. I don't,
stupid football boy? That would make
Oh.
sense.
No, I don't know actually. I'll look it up, but I don't remember because I don't remember Caleb being at any other part of it.
I didn't even put Solomon together. Isn't it good?
Oh no.
No,
Yeah,
because
he looks different.
looked very different with
the
the long
especially
hair.
Exactly, and the beard and everything.
I was like, he looks. I was like, I feel like I should know him, but
Yeah.
I couldn't place it, or like who played her father, because their father wasn't ever present in the initial one. So there were a lot of like some
little lapses
people
there.
in there that I was like,
I don't
who
think
are.
he was
Ah.
Caleb, but
That would have made sense.
I wonder who did it. I don't see anywhere where it says Caleb at any part.
Weird.
But someone fact check us and let us know, please.
Yeah,
there we
for
go.
real.
And so continuing on.
But Widow had her throat slit. The book is gone,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "Oh fuck."
She feels very fucked. And so that's whenever she ends up running to Solomon's place and she's banging on the door and he's like, go away to whoever he thinks it is. I don't
And
remember.
at this point, I was like, someone struck a deal with the devil in exchange for the town. I was like, it's Solomon. I said, he says, he's like sitting there saying like, I believe you and stuff. And I was
Then
like,
he
'cause
knows
it's
too much.
fucking him.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, it's him. And then she goes down there and I was like, I fucking knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it was you, Solomon. Fuck you.
Literally, because we have her hiding out there. The townspeople come to look. The guys come to look for her there. And so he tells her to hide. She ends up hiding, but she ends up finding a secret door that leads her into the tunnels. Just how like you like sorry, in 1978, like how when she went underground, the tunnels led up back to the mess hall, like everything's connected essentially. And so she ends up going into the tunnels and finding where there is that satanic symbol that we saw in
Yeah.
78 and like the
Little
whole
altar.
wall.
The devil's mark.
The devil's mark, everything. The wall with the names on it. And
had
so,
a ram head there decapitated, and the mark is like filled with blood. It had a very like thick,
Yeah.
viscous.
And that's whenever
Substance.
she is smart enough to put together 2 and 2, and she's like, oh shit,
He the witch.
this is Solomon. And then he ends up coming behind her, and that's whenever we get his whole exposition of like why he's done what he's done, and how basically, you know, the cards have been really he's not been dealt the best hand, and he's like, essentially, this is my turn to like get what I want, and
Yeah,
if
I'm
I have
tired
to
of it.
if I have to sacrifice one soul, then so be it.
And she was like, one soul. It's she said there's 12 children were slain. And it's so sad. And
Which is basically, I feel like, I don't even know if he necessarily knew that his deal with the devil was going to include that. I think he just thought, I give you one person and they die and that's it. I don't think
Yeah.
he thought like they're going to go
They were
crazy
gonna
and
go-
kill everybody on a spree.
yeah, exactly. He probably was like, ooh, user error.
More than I bargained for. Yeah.
But yeah.
But I'm in it, so I got to clean it
like,
up.
"Ooh."
Yeah.
And then he also, this is where we find out that it was him who saw it, because he had gone to
True.
slay the
witch.
widow.
Yeah.
And on his way back from stealing the book, he's the one who walked past them and saw Sarah
and
eating her
Sam.
out.
Or Hannah.
And and then like as he's like, we get this whole like montage of him casting the smells,
The spell.
casting the spell. We see that weird little heart thing emerge. I think it's a brain.
Yeah.
Actually, it holds all the memories and can produce things.
That's
It
true.
felt like a brain to
It kind of,
me.
yeah, I can see what you mean.
Satan
I was
put
thinking
his little
heart too.
brain into it.
I was thinking heart, but that does make more sense as a
'Cause
brain.
I guess it's just blood
It
pumping
controls
through
everything.
It. Yeah. And then basically he starts going and you
Essentially
see him
him
write Cyrus Miller on the wall too. and-
Yeah. So essentially him making this deal with the devil and casting the spell created those ruins basically of like the mark on the ground, all the tunnel system, everything. Like it all is because he did what he
he
did.
made the actual mark on the soil.
Yeah. Like how what was it in 78 where they were like Sarah's curse like stained the land. Like literally it wasn't even Sarah, it was him. Yeah.
It's him.
Yeah.
He did all of it.
Uh-huh.
And but then he tries to come on to her and say like she is like him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you know, you are like a little weird, blah blah, basically. And he's like, he's not like, yo, Sarah Fier, you're kind of weird.
Yeah.
So you're like me. He didn't say that. But yeah, and then she's like, I am nothing like you.
Yes.
And
She stabs him.
right in the tummy.
Yeah. Everybody gets stabbed in the tummy here in this movie.
Yeah, she gets stabbed like multiple
Either
times. in the
stabbed
tummy.
in the tummy or like in the head.
Yep.
And so she ends up stabbing him, and they end up getting into a little tussle, and she ends up getting away. She's running away. She ends up finding that little same spot where the little outhouse poop hole is in the second movie. And at this point, there's not an outhouse there, so she can just kind of get away.
Yeah.
Or
And-
try to.
So then with him being there, I was like, oh, it explains why it was a male whisper all this time too.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Because it was always a male whisper that was happening.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
I never thought
mean,
about that. That makes sense.
I
Yeah.
guess that could be because it was
Maybe
the
it's
devil.
every like good whatever
Yeah.
guy, Nick Good, all those other name goods, like
but
them.
it's calling their name possibly in that moment, and that's
Yeah.
when it curses them, and they
Probably it.
go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was like, it had been a male whisper the whole time.
I
So was
never
like,
put that
why
together. I
is-
thought about that.
But then I was like, maybe it's just a minion working for Sarah,
Mm-hmm.
one of her little boys.
It's a good little nod there.
Yeah.
And then she almost makes it, but she ends up getting pulled down, unfortunately, by Solomon again. And they get into it again, and they're right by that fucking rock that Alice was at earlier. And we find out that she never cut off her fucking hand. He ended up slicing, like cutting it enough to where
It was just kind of
it's hanging,
flopping.
and then they're fighting, and then it ends up getting yanked off.
Yeah, just
like gruesomely. Oh, it's so I would like the pain that she must have been, like the shock.
yeah.
Ugh.
The
And
initial,
her screaming was really like real. It's
Oh,
guttural.
yeah.
It was like, oh shit.
Yeah, she was feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the initial chop. I thought that looked pretty good. I felt like we were a little too focused on the actual pulling off. Like I felt like if it would have been just a second shorter, it wouldn't have looked quite as cheesy as it did when it had
When
as
it
much
snapped.
time to like really look at it. But overall, I was like, that was pretty good.
I enjoyed it. It's good, and it's nice knowing like. 'cause
And it also
just, like,
explains why it wasn't buried deeply.
yeah.
'Cause
It's
it
really
just
because it
looks
just
like,
plopped there. And then also too, and like going to this whole plot and throughout the whole thread of the movie has been like it's all been Sarah Fier, and like all of the literally every part of her story has been told wrong. Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's been
incorrectly.
twisted.
It's just to frame her. Yeah.
And so,
Which is unfortunately a large part of many of the women who were hanged and stuff, or women, children, men. There were also men hanged in the Salem witch trials and stuff as well. So
and and then the real witches moved to New Orleans. And so we have her then being able to wrap herself up because she has stabbed him or something. He ran off. I forget what she did, but she injures him in some way for him to like run off. And then she is able to get away because she ends up getting to the same place where what's her face? Cindy was at in the 78 underneath the mess hall and then underneath the church for her now.
That was like, why does my note just say just like Cindy had to do? Yeah, she kicks through just like Cindy was kicking the grate. She kicks through the fucking wooden floor.
Yeah. Somehow by shock probably.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
adrenaline.
if it was just some pieces of plywood, I mean, people crack those with their hands all the
well,
time.
they say too, if you ever get buried alive in like a wooden coffin or something like that, it's kind of like Uma Thurman-ish. Like if you just like keep going at it long enough, you'll be able to like bust through it, like Kill Bill style.
Kill Bill.
But you also have to have the will and determination to do that. So.
Yeah, and then also you can run out of oxygen.
I would have gave up.
There, though, quickly.
My knuckles would have been too sore.
Yeah.
And so we have her then, and it's kind of unfortunate that. She ends up breaking through into the church because it's like, damn, all right where we kind of don't want to be because it's right in the middle of town
and right at the right in the center of the pulpit too.
And so she ends up coming through.
But also I feel like that's kind of some good symbolism. Like
it is.
I mean, she was trying to tell like the truth. But, I mean, assuming that anything spoken from a pulpit should be the truth. Yeah, and then
but it's lies.
It is. Well, she was going to tell the truth, but then Solomon stops her.
Yeah, she gets out and she's like sees Hannah there and it stops her for a second. And then we have freaking Solomon coming and like grabbing her by the back of the head and being like, I've got the witch. I found the witch. Which is pretty sucky.
Yeah, fucking sells her right out.
Yeah.
He wastes no time.
No time at all. And she ends up getting like a mob style. They get taken to the hanging tree and they're about to get strung up, but that's
She's
whenever
literally getting hanged for nothing.
Sarah at that point as well takes all the blame. She ends up confessing for everything and saying that Hannah had nothing to do with it.
That she had bewitched the pastor and clouded Hannah's mind, and it was only me, not Hannah. She walked with the devil, like she herself walked with the devil and laid with him. Hannah had nothing to do with it.
And then at this point, we have Solomon walking up towards her, and he's basically taking part in like the hanging of her, and she's cursing him and saying like the truth will be your curse and it will follow you forever. It
will come out. She said, I will show them what you have done and I will never let you go.
Yeah, pretty strong words there. And then after that, we have her hanging. You get to really pretty much see the whole thing.
Like again, like the whole idea of public hangings is like what?
Because people suck.
Yeah, but then like her friends sitting, like I don't think I'd be able to, like they were just like kind of quietly crying, and I was like, that's my fucking, like, damn. I mean, but of course I'm sure some of them were believing it too,
and it's different. I don't know, I feel like I don't know,
but it's like, ugh, it was real sad.
Yeah.
But then thankfully her friends come back, move the
bones, and that's how we figure out why her body wasn't where they thought it was in 78, and her bones were moved to some fucking side of the road apparently.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't a road at that point. Yeah, by the kissing rock.
And they give her a proper burial, but she's really not buried that deeply unless there was a lot of erosion over time. That's what I told myself to make up for why her bones were just kind of sitting on top.
Or also too, it's paranormal, it's supernatural, so maybe it's just like that.
She just like wiggled to the top. She was like, these ones will be able to do it.
Because the truth was meant to be found out.
Yep. And then you kind of see the moss growing over the town. And this is when I was like, oh, Solomon's not good. I'm dumb. But then we flash back.
And we're
Dina's
back
seen
into
the whole truth.
1994, part 2. And yeah, we have
exactly where we left off at the end of the second, beginning of this one.
Yeah, and she is in the middle of the woods, and then we have Sheriff Good coming up, and he's asking Josh, who's now Josh, not Henry anymore, like, what are y'all doing over here? And that's whenever Dina sees him, and she's like, Josh, like, whatever, run, or she runs up to him. They run into the woods. They leave a little shoe, and they end up stealing his police car to get away.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, oh fuck, and like Good rolls up, and I was like, oh shit, because at this point I wasn't completely sure if like Sheriff Good like was in on it yet, because they didn't quite tell you that the legacy was going to go that far.
And at this point, it also just was more like
he was called in the situation, and as far
like,
as we know, he was really kind to Ziggy and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh,
you wanted to have the benefit of the doubt for it.
And I was like, crap, is he trying to keep the truth under wraps? Because then the way he started acting, and then I was like, when does he figure it out? Is it a family like story that they lay out and they're like, yo, which I assume it is. And then I was like, and they're from fucking Sunnyvale to keep a hold on the Shadyside people and basically choose who to sacrifice. I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And whenever she tells Henry, and she's like, Good is evil.
Yeah, she's explaining it all, and she's basically saying, we have to kill Nick Good.
Yeah. And the way that whenever he's like going through the forest to try and find them, he's got that evil look nailed down. And like especially as he's rounding the tree, just the combination of the light and like the sheen of sweat on his face, like you can tell he's like kind of nervous, and he's like looking, and
because up until this point too, he's just been playing it really cool because nobody knows it's secret. But I think at this point he's like, there's too much going on. He's feeling the pressure now of like, shit, I gotta
figured out.
Stop this girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they steal his car.
They steal his car. Yep.
And that she's basically kind of catching Henry up. She's like, they're trading us, people from Shadyside, basically. And she said Good gives them the name, and the devil feeds on the blood of Shadysiders. And then they can basically get whatever they want.
Thrive off of it. They profit off of it. They get everything that they need, basically, to make sure that they are the great Sunnyvalers.
Like his older brother was the mayor of Sunnyvale.
And then also, too,
father before him was the sheriff.
Making a deal with the devil. That's why they're also the Sunnyvale Devils. And then they're the Shadyside Witches.
That's right. Yep.
And so it's all kind of clicking and making sense. They're coming up with this, like, we have to kill Nick Good. And then they end up going to Ziggy's place.
Yeah.
And they're telling, because Sam's been there the whole time. And so they end up catching her up and being like, Nick Good is evil. And then she's like, well, fuck, I just called Nick Good.
Yeah, she's like,
to come help.
And then we like getting flashes of young Nick Good even being in on it. Like you see him like write Thomas Slater's name on the wall. Yeah,
all of the goods.
And I was like, at this point, I got so mad. I was like, "Fuck you, dude!" I was like, "God damn it!" Even young Nick Good was in on it. No. Yeah. I was like, I felt so betrayed for Ziggy.
Same. I really liked him as a character and their little love story.
I was like, oh, that's pretty cute.
Yeah. But they end up coming with this plan because before that, they end up going to recruit what's his face, the dude who was in the jail cell earlier in the movie.
I just put that dude because
I forget his name, but they end up going to get him because they're gonna, I guess, essentially use this help to get into the Shadyside Mall because they have to get into the mall. His name's Martin. That's right.
And at this point, like right before that, you get kind of like a pan of the brain heart thing, like kind of like blip, 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 some people out, and I was like, yes, we're gonna get all the killers. Let's go. I was excited. And then they go pick him up because all I saw was the card beforehand though, and it said partner, friend, entrepreneur, and I was like, what? Like I was like, whose house are they going to? And then they roll up, and it's the way he like just lit up a fucking joint, and then they're just like, bloop.
Do you want to help us kill Nick Good? And he's like, yeah,
let me get my coat.
Yeah, because he gave him that card whenever he gave him the little safety pin or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
He's like, I owe you one kind of thing, and so that was like good. But the way he was like so ready, he was like, bitch, let me get my coat. Yeah, hold on. That was funny.
At this point, and it's the way that he just keeps going on with it, even after the fact he sees Sam, and it's like, oh, there's a demon child here. But their plan essentially is to trap, like how they kind of did earlier in the first one at the school, and trap all of the monsters separately within their little stores and their gates at the mall.
He says these gates are basically like the Cadillac of gates. And they were like, can we rig them to go down quickly? And he said, a little grease and these things go down faster than a Sunnyvale cheerleader. I was like, oh.
That's funny.
It was funny.
A little dig. And then we have them saying, or what's her face? Ziggy, she's like, we're going to carry Nick.
We're going to carry
Yeah, because essentially they're going to put Dina's blood, right? It's Dina blood?
They're after Dina.
So they're going to put Dina's blood in the water in a bucket and put it into water guns and then put it onto Nick, so that way the spawns are all going to come after him.
Exactly. Yeah, and whenever Martin sees Sam, he's like a half possessed type of white girl. Cool. Like he's like, what?
Yeah.
And at one point he kind of kind of like, wait, are we? Oh, like y'all are serious about this?
It's so crazy because he's just like, at this point he's not checked out. I'm just like, at that point I would have been like, I don't know. I might just peace out. But
yeah, that seems
also
like
I don't know.
we could get in a lot of trouble for killing the sheriff. I don't know. But
and so because like also too in movies, like anybody who ever gets dealt with like supernatural shit, like if it can't be explained, you're gonna be pinned with it.
Exactly.
But we have then Josh talking to what's her name, Dina, and that's whenever we figure out that little code he's been saying the whole time is the Konami code. And it's like just
Ultimate
something that
code.
Basically gives him his
Extra
confidence,
lives.
his extra life, everything that he needs to get through whatever he's going through. And so he tells her that, so that way she has that little mantra to use like for when the tough times get toughen.
Exactly. And also like Josh and Martin had talked and he was like, any tips for fighting them? And he was just like, try not to die.
Yeah.
And then Martin goes out to the police car.
That's right.
And he finds the spray paint in that goodie bag and he's like,
that's why also too
fuck.
Nick
like,
Good earlier said these are mine.
Yeah. And so he wasn't lying, but yeah, he'd been like framing Martin.
And we thought it was
time.
just like satire earlier, like a joke. Yeah.
But it really was him. And so now Martin's got some like, okay, yeah, fuck it. Let's kill this motherfucker. I like whenever him and Dina hug, Josh and Dina hug.
Yeah.
And he's like, you smell like an androgynous baby.
Oh, that's right. That's just
made me laugh.
a little cute dialogue between brother and sister.
It made me laugh.
And they're setting up the mall at this point. They're getting everything ready. And then they've got like glow in the dark paint ish, I guess.
Yeah.
And all this stuff.
Yeah.
The blood in the water. They're spreading it around. And they are ready. And then it's pretty fast. We have the killers all coming out. And we have we have the Nightwing killer, we have the Milkman, and then we have the Ryan Torres, the Skull Mask killer, I believe. And they're coming, and then they also trap one more. Is it Ruby Lane?
No,
they trap 4 at first, I believe. But anyways,
Ruby was definitely
that's right. That's after.
Later.
Yeah, that's she comes back later. It's not the little boy with the bat, the Milkman.
No, yeah. So they hold on. Sorry. Yeah, that was
one.
a little bit further in my notes. I liked the choice of Come Out and Play by The Offspring too. Playing as they're setting up too.
Yeah.
Also, one of the one of the little like tags said "Suck it, Chode," and I was like, "LOL." But yeah, so the Milkman gets him. Who does it get?
They end up getting trapping 4 monsters.
Because then it's the weird Aardvark man.
The Aardvark man?
Yeah, that one that had that funny mask on. He kind of looked like Arthur.
Okay, I'll have to
but
look
like
back
with
at
a
it.
metal mask. I don't know.
But
before even then, they get caught by the cops.
Oh, that's right.
2 cops
I forgot
show
about that. The cops show up, and then
the Milkman gets them.
They end up getting butchered.
Yeah.
pretty fast. And
and then that's when weird Aardvark man comes in, and so Aardvark man, Milkman, Skullface, and
Ryan Torres, Skullface, Nightwing killer.
Yeah, Nightwing. So those are the 4.
And they've got them trapped, and that's whenever we have them going back, reconnecting, and being like, okay, we've got these 4.
Tommy's almost doesn't go down too. That was scary.
No,
I was like,
that's really close. And then that's whenever we have Nick Good showing up. And then we have Ziggy being like, I'm going to go do this. And then she ends up going out there, and she ends up being able to tag him. But not tag him, but like drop the bucket of him on him, which is funny because it's also a parallel to like he helped her do that to Sheila, but now she's doing it to him, and then he ends up grabbing her, and he was
ready to
asshole form
immediately sacrifice
literally
her.
It's just like, if I go, she goes too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and
that
was fucking.
Well, and it's just like Solomon, how he was like, I love you to Sarah, but then like was just like stab.
Yeah.
So
it's like,
No, you don't. Yeah. And so we have that happening, and that's whenever all the plan kind of goes to shit.
Because Nick starts getting stabbed, but now Ziggy's covered in
Yeah,
Sarah's
and so
blood,
then
Dina's blood.
And then Dina goes out there and she's like, well, I can't let this happen. So she cuts her hand. So then,
Yeah.
of course, they're
and
not
the way
even...
the milkman licks Ziggy's face was so fucking creepy. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
And then the way that they are now like sharks with freshly cut blood, they're like, oh, we're going to go after Dina. So Sheriff Good ends up being able to get away through like the back door.
And that's where
Dina
Dina goes to follow.
That's right. Dina goes running after him. And then we have the rest of the gang kind of being there. And they're like, trying to figure out what we do. And then that's whenever we get to Dina. Because they're trying to figure out what to do, right? They're out of like the little blood or whatever in the water guns.
Well, they still had some. Because this is where they said, they were like, because Martin goes, we need plan B. And then Josh goes, no, we need more plan A.
That's right.
And then so at first they cover those 4 and they let them loose.
That's
and they
right.
make
They
them
start
kill
killing
each other.
Oh my God, how did I forget about that?
And then
but they're reconstituting anyways, so like they end up to like
But thankfully I guess they were at least brutal enough to each other to give them a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But then at this point, like Sam breaks loose and we see her go after Dina down there.
That's right.
And that's bad. But then this is where we start hearing Ruby and Little
That
Boy
fucking song.
comes in.
Your favorite.
Yay! I wish he had more of a part.
Or like we got like his backstory.
Yeah, I'm going to spin off with his murders.
Yeah, that would have been cool. A little mini story.
That's all I want to see.
Little mini series.
Him, and I'd be curious about Aardvark Man too.
Yeah.
It's definitely not his name.
It's okay. He will be Aardvark Man to us.
Yes.
And that's whenever we have them all coming back together. We have Ruby Lane, and then that's whenever they're all trying to figure out what they're gonna do. And then I'm just like, why don't y'all just stay behind the gate and not do anything and just wait. Let Dina do her thing. But yeah.
But Josh is like, I can't let my sister go. And so he goes to fight Ruby, and fuck, she gets him in the tummy.
He gets slashed real bad.
And then like at the same time,
he gets shot by someone else, right? By Ziggy before she's able to kill him.
Oh, maybe, yeah. And at the same time, Sam is attacking Dina now, and then it goes back to like Josh and Ruby fighting. And whenever she snaps his arm, I thought it was fucking neck because she had her hands like so on his face, and then I heard a bone snap, and I was like, no, Josh is dead.
I should have killed Josh.
If they would have, I probably would have liked it a
little bit more. Yeah. The stakes would have been really high.
Yeah, I love me a good main character dying.
And so he ends up getting pretty hurt, pretty roughed up, but as like we said, Dina and Sam are fighting whatever in the underground. And I'm like, how the fuck did Sam even get down here? But okay, how'd she get out of her whatever?
Yeah,
her restraints.
I guess was strong.
And poor Dina kept getting fucked up. She got stabbed.
She did.
And like getting thrown around everywhere.
I guess being possessed gives you some superhuman strength a lot of the time. So, I mean, the fact I was honestly surprised she didn't break free whenever she was at C. Berman's house.
With just the telephone wrapping around her at first too as well.
Yeah. And then whenever she got out of this, I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, that's believable.
Maybe it's been building up.
The way she like just yeets right down there. But yeah, and, fucking Nick uses their fighting to take advantage of it.
To try to get the upper hand.
Yeah.
But
stabs her right in the tummy. I was like, oh.
Thankfully, she's then able to get Nick to touch the glob, the heart, the brain, whatever we want to call it.
And right before this, he says, it'll like makes perfect sense. Local dyke slays girlfriend, friends, and brother. And he's like, I can see the headline now. And he's like, I'll get a medal, he says.
He's such an asshole.
And I was like, fuck you, dude. Yeah, makes him touch the brain, heart, Bart. And he like sees everything basically, everything
that Sarah has gone through, and all the like
the truth
will
be your curse. Basically, he's having to see all of these people killed because of them. And I mean, I'm sure he didn't come to. I'm sure he wasn't like,
he's aware.
Sorry,
but and also like he knows everything that his family has done.
Yeah,
and this is just basically the culmination that she's showing him that, and it gives Dina enough time to then get a knife, and then the knife that I don't know what knife it was actually.
Just the knife.
Just
that
a knife.
Had.
Yeah, and she stabs him in the eye.
Right in the eyeball.
And he's dead.
Voice.
Yeah.
I said, bye-bye,
Finally.
bitch.
Yeah. And at this point, that's whenever we have all of the monsters that were up attacking the gang.
Go
they
poof.
vanishing, poofing like Thanos, just
Yep.
snapped away.
Into little dust.
Mhm.
And, oh, God, man, because whenever Nick, like, hit Sam in the head, like, smashed her head on the ground
Yeah.
earlier, and whenever Dina was approaching her, I was like, fuck, please don't let Sam actually be dead, because she looked a little lifeless.
Mhm.
And I was like, ugh. But then, yay,
They
finally
couldn't
get to be
have.
together.
After all of that, they would not have let her die.
Yeah,
No.
that would have caused another curse.
and
We see that she survived that tummy stabbing because she had a little armor of books.
wrapped
Books
around
taped to her,
Yeah.
which kind of calls back to the first one
Yeah.
where what's her face she doesn't get stabbed by Skullface
Oh,
at
that's
first
right.
because
Yeah.
it stabs the book.
In the first part of the movie.
Yeah.
And after that, we have Sam and what's her face, Dina, going through the tunnels, and it ends up coming through a little opening, which I'm assuming is what used to be Solomon's house.
Yes,
But
I
it's the
think
same
it
kind
definitely
of
was.
thing. Yeah, and it opens up into the mayor's, or not the mayor's house, to some. I'm assuming it's Nick Good's house in Sunnyvale.
Yeah, I believe it was Nick Good's house.
Yeah, it's Nick Good's house. Yeah.
And as they're going through, you're seeing the walls are basically like wiping clean and everything like it's closing up. All the caverns and the devil's
names
mark
are getting like erased from the stone.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like being all of it's gone. The devil's like, you killed my servant, so I'm out.
Literally, I'm dipping.
Not getting no more payment. Bye. And yeah, that I believe it probably was
Nick Good's house
Nick
because
Good's
they
house.
end up
And
walking outside. And well, we can claim that it is a Good's house because we see the family tree and Solomon Good's at the bottom of it.
Yeah, and
There's
that
so many.
family tree looked dope as hell.
It's a huge family tree too.
I was like,
So many
I
people.
don't care about my family ties that much, but I want someone's
something to
family
look like
tree
that,
in
yeah.
my house.
Oh yeah, get a
Yeah.
fake one.
Yeah.
Make fake names.
Well,
Make your
I'm
own
sure
family.
I can find me
Make your own family. I would make it look like the Harry Potter one.
like a Marauder's map.
No, like the family tree of like Sirius Black and
yes.
Lestrange and all of them.
Yeah, I would like it to look just like that, but I think it'd be really cool to just have some rando dead person's family tree, like antiques. I mean, it would make sense.
No, that does. It fits in the theme with the rest of your stuff.
Yeah, that would be fun. Anyways, though, they walk outside. They're like covered in blood, and we see Sunnyvale's no longer.
Mayor.
Oh, that was the mayor.
That's the mayor.
Oh, LOL. I just thought it was a rando dude.
No, it was the mayor.
LOL.
It was his brother, Nick Good's
Even
brother.
better.
Yeah, he ends up walking out and getting into his vehicle and packing up into the street and getting plowed by a
like dump truck.
Yeah, dump truck or something. Yeah. And so it gives even
Sunnyvale
more.
No longer good.
It's no longer good. There's gonna be some shit happening for Sunnyvale.
Good.
It's no longer peaceful.
Good is bad.
Good is bad. Literally.
Good is bad.
At that, we have them. We have Ziggy going back to Nurse Lane, and she's giving her book back, I think, or something,
Yeah.
to like, I guess, kind of be like, it's over. The curse is over.
It was the book that they had
From
stolen.
78. Yeah.
Off of, or not stolen, but taken once Nurse Lane was admitted and stuff. And basically, then we see Dina taking Josh to school, and the way she brings him, like, those pancakes looked like burger patties.
Yeah, no.
Looked like a fucking burger.
Oh, this scene again. It's giving me the pizza scene from 1994. I was like, why was this necessary? It's not necessary.
Yeah.
But anyways, they end up going to school. He's talking to Martin is trying to sell what I guess is essentially the beginning of what a MP3 player is supposed to be or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. To the kids at school. And then we have we see that his little nerdy friend from the computer internet is like there. And she writes on his armcast, like,
she says,
you can
what
hit
you
me
need
up.
is an SSD.
Yeah.
And she was like, if you ever need help with it, she said it'll help with your size problems. And yeah, we see that
it's his friend that he's been chatting with on the internet.
Person, yeah. And as Dina drops him off too, she's like, no, I've got something I gotta go do. And I was like, yeah, your fucking girlfriend. You gotta go fucking do her.
And also, like, shouldn't y'all be in school? But nah.
Yeah,
I guess,
whatever.
Well, I guess Sam is still off because she's been hurt. Remember, she like had that whole accident. So I guess it's still literally probably it's only been like a day and a half.
Yeah.
Like over the course
just
of
like maybe a week later.
Yeah.
They don't tell us. But yeah, so then they go out to the Kissing Rock. She meets her there with some product placement,
burgers.
Burger King. and they carve in there Sarah Fier, the first Shadysider.
Mm-hmm.
And now they finally get to do it on the Kiss and Rock
The
covered
daylight
moss.
and moss. And so it's kind of a cute ending-ish. We cut to credits, but then we have like little inner cuts.
Flashes.
Yeah, after that. And then for the last part of it, we see that the tunnels downstairs have like caution tape and everything all over them. And there's the book down there, but someone takes it.
Because whenever they were leaving and stuff, and I saw that they just walked right past the book,
I was like, why wouldn't y'all like burn that or do
"Mm,
something with that or like tuck it away, keep it
Like,
safe? Yeah.
probably you should take the book. I was like, probably don't leave it there. But
But
so
they do.
I said,
So something else is going to
I should have
happen.
taken that. Yep.
Fear
Something
Street
else gonna happen.
2022.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
And that's the end of our saga.
Yeah, Fear Street parts 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Part 2 as well.
Wow. And yeah, part 2 of part 1. But I'm gonna give it a 5.
A 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
You love
Crucify me.
it.
I do.
No.
I really liked it, and
good.
overall I just like the storyline arc, the characters. I thought it was a good, like, solid storyline.
Yeah.
I don't know. And yeah, out of all of them, I enjoyed this one the most because we got that cool 1666 part, which I really loved, and then we get the 1994 because it's like very much the satisfaction of getting everything found out and like there's resolution at the end.
Yeah.
And the good guys won, basically, I guess.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah, if they wanted to put that in there, regardless of the fact that I definitely like the 1666 part more, if they wanted to put that in there, it would have been like, I would have felt like something was missing.
I still
Definitely
think
necessary.
I don't think necessarily Josh, Dina, or Sam should have died because I think that's too close to home. Because then it's like, what was even the point if one of these died? Fuck it all. But like, I think Ziggy could have died, or someone else in the end could have died to like make it a little bit more.
I feel like if Josh died, it would have been
because like
not
even
as
in
bad,
like
'cause
even
as long as Sam and Dina end up together,
like even in the first one.
yeah, it's pretty terrible.
In the first one, how Kate and Simon died, because we
Yeah.
were following them the whole way through, right
And
until the very end.
With how with it being, for like a younger audience, you're most of the time you're like, oh, we'll be fine. Like, these are our main people.
Yeah,
We're gonna be okay.
and they
then
ended up like
dead.
dying. Yeah,
Back
and
to
I
back.
honestly by that point didn't think they were gonna die. I was like, okay, everybody's gonna make it, and then they end up getting chopped right at the end.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I
oh,
was like,
shit.
Kate's
And I
gonna
was
get out of
sad.
this somehow.
I
Yeah.
was kind of sad. I ended up really liking their characters. Like their levity was like the ease that the movie needed as like everything else was going on, because they were definitely like those like they knew everything was serious, but they were still had like a little.
They were a little bit of
comedic relief. Yeah. Because that's me. When shit's going down, I'm gonna be making jokes. I'm not gonna be like all serious about it.
Yeah. No time for that.
What's your boo rating, Caitlin? 2.
No, I liked this one the best.
2.1.
I was listening back to some older episodes today, just because now at this point it's been so long since we've done some of these that I like completely forgot
we're
the
over
movie.
50 episodes.
Yeah, we are. And so I'm like, I don't really remember these, but like hearing them and stuff, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can
And I remember
picture
this part,
everything.
and now, yeah.
Yeah. And so like I was listening to the Canal today, and I was like, the Canal.
The Canal.
Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, this was a good movie. I really liked it. And then I was like 3.5. And I was like, what?
In hindsight, you're like, oh, I probably would have.
I was like, I gave the first Fear Street a 3.5. And I'm like,
I think maybe too. I mean,
I feel like maybe I'm getting a little more lenient now.
Well, also too. I mean, we've also created this podcast like just a year ago. Like I think it's something
true.
that
We're
we've
almost
been
coming up to our 1 year
yeah,
anniversary.
and I think it's something also as well that we've been growing into, like, and things are not always set in stone. Maybe we have to be more lenient with ourselves and know, and maybe like boo rating in the future might be 1 to 10 or something, because I do see what you mean. Like there's too close of a like. Then we end up getting to like 2.3 and 4.6 and like this and that, because it's like it's too close of a, or it's too short, I guess, of a range.
Yeah.
Because there are some things that are really like decent or like really, really good, or things that are kind of like just right in the middle. So I don't know. You never know, you guys. We could do more boos if, I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did like this one the most out of it. I didn't have an issue with many of the graphics. Like I thought the practical effects on the eyeballs being gouged out was hella cool. Loved that. I loved that scene in general. It was dark as fuck.
This one didn't have as many like deaths or as many like gory
you didn't
stuff, but
see a lot of death happening because like all of a sudden, yes, you
Well,
saw
I mean, the
12 kids
kids,
dead at
but
once, but
yeah.
we didn't witness them getting
Yeah.
murdered. And it wasn't like one stabbing and then another and another. It was all of a sudden 12 kids were fucking dead, which is like terrible.
Yeah.
But it really did leave a little bit more to kind of the imagination.
Well, and yeah, like, and
And-
it gives more tact as well because like people don't want to see kids dying on screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, especially nowadays after shit that's been happening recently.
For real.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so overall, I liked this. I did enjoy how the storyline wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
I did like it quite a bit, and I appreciate the little callbacks in between. I do still stand by that some of the acting in the second one was not my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
The first one I do feel was like
Solid.
pretty well acted. But yeah, so I don't know. Overall, though, I thought it was nice. I am pretty sure that is the mall from Stranger Things. At one point, like
Right.
that pizza place where Sam was tied up, it looked exactly like Steve Harrington's like little ice cream job shop.
Mm-hmm. They just
And-
repurposed it.
Yeah, I was
I mean,
like, this
probably.
looks the same.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm like, now that I gave the Canal a 3.5, I'm like, I'm gonna bump that one up to a 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll give this one a 4 too.
Okay, solid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it went from 3.5 to 3
To a 4.
to 4. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this last one the most.
I actually want to re-give my 94 a 4 because I think I said 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
So I want mine to be staggered as well. 4,
It doesn't have to
4.5,
be.
and a 5. There we go. Because to me, they kept getting better and better. So that's all. I guess I
Yeah.
feel like I actually really enjoyed 78. Not that I'm saying like, I mean like your opinion's very valid. I just mean like for my opinion, I really like 78.
I think I liked the storyline
maybe
from
because, like,
78 a lot better than 94.
Also maybe because too, I've rewatched them now
Yeah.
at this point as to where you've only had one viewing through.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did. And I
Because I definitely like the series more now than when I first watched it. When I first watched it, I was like, well, that was some kiddie shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably where I am right now. And like I said, the storyline from 78 was really, really good. It was mainly the graphics or like
And the acting parts.
Yeah, there was a few bits of acting, and really, I mean, what are the effects called?
CGI, special effects.
Special effects. I was like, fuck.
Practical special effects.
Yeah, the special effects were not my favorite in that one.
Yeah.
That one really is like
It
that
kinda
is
took you out of it.
why
Yeah.
it bumped it down for me. Because overall, I enjoyed that storyline quite a bit. I thought
Yeah.
it was more interesting than 94's.
Same.
And because 94 did like feel there was a little too much cheese in some of that.
And there was so much going on. Like I feel like I said that before, but there's just so much going on in 94.
Yeah.
And then, like, which also gave me to like the problem that I had with Halloween kills of last year. There was just like we were like in the park, we're at the hospital, we're at this place, we're at a bar, we're out of this, we're in the streets, we're out of here. It was just too much. I was like, can we just pick a fucking place?
Pick a place. Let's
Kill there. That's all.
Yeah. And I want one giant final murder scene
Yeah.
or pursuing scene. But yeah, so a 4 and a 5
A 5.
for the
Fear Street 1966/1994 Part 2.
the third film in the trilogy
Of Fear
Fear
Street.
Streets by R.L. Stein.
Yeah.
So
Of all people, Goosebumps. Shout out.
I do love R.L. Stein. I've had all
Yeah.
the goosebumps. I tried to pause it and see if the books that she was using to shield her were Goosebumps, because I thought that would have been
a good tie-in.
really nice little like nod.
Failed opportunity.
Yeah, they weren't. But oh well.
Yeah.
But yeah, as always, we are in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios. They take great care of us, and you can listen to us or any of the other wonderful podcasts that they have on
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
That's right. And any of the other slew of podcasting forums, hosting sites. What's the word? Yeah, sites.
All of those sites.
Wherever
Yeah.
you get
The
your
isms.
podcast, we are there. But the two biggest ones being
Spotify.
and Apple Podcasts.
Apple
And
Podcasts. yes.
wherever you do listen, don't forget to.
Rate, review, like, and subscribe.
Yep, because it's the only way we can get ahead in this world.
It
And
is.
If you want to let us know, reach out. Next week, we're going to be talking about the movie
The Faculty.
The Faculty. This will
Yes.
round out our
Back to school kind of horror themed film movies. I chose The Faculty for next week because I feel like these movies were kind of more focused on like students, kids wise, on which I mean The Faculty is as well, but I like the premise that in The Faculty, not to spoil anything, but hopefully I'll go watch it. Basically it's kind of / invasion of the body snatchers and just like the adults killing the students, going after the students basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It sounds fun. I've not ever seen this. Well, actually,
It
I
has
don't
some
know.
like 90s actors
As
in it.
we were
like,
discussing that, I was like, wait, maybe I actually have seen
you
this
probably
one.
have TBH because
We'll see when I watch it how much of it I'm like, oh,
I remember
yes,
this.
duh, I've totally seen this movie like once.
yeah.
But we'll see. I'm excited though. And if you want to let us know your thoughts on The Faculty, please reach out to us on Instagram, our one social media platform at
BooBaes podcast, and that's BOOBAES podcast because we're your BooBaes, not your BooBabes.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have any suggestions for Halloween, you can,
Yeah,
or
please let us
spooky
know.
season for
We're-
afterwards. This will probably actually be a little bit late by the time this comes out.
No, actually, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll probably already have picked them. JK,
You know what?
we'll put
Nick
something on our
K, guys,
Instagram.
we're gonna post something, and if you're listening to this, hopefully you were a part of our choosing, and if you haven't, get on it next year, you guys.
Yeah.
Now you know.
But still send us in if you have any requests that you would like us to cover, we'll add it to the list and we'll do a little snippet, or we'll find a time to like
Yeah.
always feature the movies
You'll
that
get
y'all want to hear.
mentioned. You'll be a part of the show.
And we'll read
we love
your
the
thoughts
interaction.
and your booze on it. So
Exactly.
but until then,
Bye, Baes.
bye bees.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast. Join the ultimate celebration of digital content with its creators, passionate fans, and industry experts. It's all happening in downtown Waco across multiple venues on January 20th through the 22nd, 2023. Tickets are on sale now at roguecon23.com.
Hi, I'm Hank. You might remember me from a show called King of the Hill. Check out a King of the Hill rewatch podcast. These boys ain't rap, but they are funny. Find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com. I tell you what.